Something is not quite right about this KX-1. I was playing around on a live stream a long time ago. It took a long time to get the part in. And I pulled the VFO off because I thought that you pulled it off. And it came off really easy, but what I found out is that I actually pulled the shaft out of the rotary encoder. So, not a good idea. Today, we're gonna fix it. Get my KX toolkit out, and there are some thumb screws and some other screws and so forth. So let's do the thumb screws first. Ooh, and this is a quirky little QRP Morse code only radio that has a ton of features inside. So 6 AA batteries will get you good. And then what do I need to do? I need Phillips head. Choices. I need a smaller Phillips head. And I need a flathead. Is this the right size, or do I need a smaller flathead too? Yep, I need a smaller flathead too. I'm 100% on them right now. I don't know why that's a different kind of screw. Maybe that's what the previous owner had, and I probably should switch that out at some point, but I'm okay for now. Right, and then inside, while we're here, let's take a look at what's inside. This little module here slides right out, and this is a tuner. It's an antenna tuner built right in here. This is the KX-1, so your relays and your toroids and some capacitors over here, so you can figure out what you want to have. The guy that built this put a lot of witness marks on all the plastic cases as he was putting stuff in. Interesting little mod there. But there is our rotary encoder. This is KX-1 firmware version 1.02. And normally you get these things as kits, but they do come up on eBay. So this is what the rotary encoder is supposed to look like when you don't pull the shaft out of the rotary encoder itself. And so the first thing I need to do is get the old one out. My strategy going to be for getting the old one out? Yep, I'm going to hook up my desoldering iron. So that was the Amnesty ZD915 desoldering iron, desoldering sucker. It might seem a little counterintuitive, but what I did was I applied some fresh solder to the joints to help it flow. Solder gets old and it doesn't flow as well as it used to when it was young. Kind of like a lot of us, we don't operate as well as we used to when we were younger. There are 3 pins there. There are 2 pins that hold it down, and it looked like this one here wasn't even soldered, so I didn't bother with that one. And then 2 more pins on the bottom here. So I think I got all of those clear. And this is the KXB3080. It's the 30-meter, 80-meter add-on board, and that thing's jammed in with a bunch of components that make it really hard to move. But one of the things you can do, this component is definitely trash, so I can get in there and I can start cutting away at pieces of it and not worry about trying to get it back in place. Yeah, that's nice and free. Got it. Okay, now that that's out, it'll be a little bit easier to get the remaining couple of feet out. Back to work. Okay, that worked out really well. And if this wasn't such tight quarters, that probably would have not been as difficult as it was. It wasn't really difficult. It just was a lot more difficult than some of the other things I've removed in my life. Okay, so there is the dummy load. Now we can plug in the power supply. I can remember where the switches are. Power on. All right, she's on. And she's encoding. And the push button works. Success. And now that that's done, these two big clamps, those aren't air quotes, those are clamp shapes, are supposed to be the thing that provides the physical strain relief. So you want to put solder on that, and you're supposed to fill up the hole. And there's two. So there's a quick little repair and tear down of what's going on here. A couple of interesting things here. I'm not 100% sure what this part is. But the cool part about the Elecraft KX-1 is that it is a kit. This is Rev B of the kit and firmware version 1.02. Turn that off. And as a result, you can go in and look at the assembly manual and figure out what some of this stuff is. And I have been told that these assembly manuals are fantastic. One of these days, when I get better at Morse code, CW, I might actually go out and see if I can find one of these unbuilt and build it. Because it doesn't look like it's terribly complicated to build. It looks like some kind of crystal filter. Those are all 4.9136 crystals. A couple of relays here. This one says K1, this one says K2. This says K1 Rev A on it. Upside down capacitor, a relay, two toroids, L1 and L2. So this would be like a bandpass filter. So I'm assuming this is an extra band add-on. And then a couple of other things I noticed. Not sure if it's this one or maybe that one. Let's put it all back together now. Put the tuner board back on. KX-1 ATU Rev B from 2003. And then if you were going to use the batteries would plug right in there. Let's put this back on the top side of the case. This jack here is for your KX-PD1, your Morse code paddle. This radio did not have one, but there's a little screw hole there that you tighten down the thumb screw, and then the paddle sits in there and it becomes a part of the radio. So then on the top side, we have that one flathead screw. Let's get that in place. And then we need to switch screwdriver bits. Then you've got headphones, BNC for your antenna, 12 volts for power, and there's a little LED light there, a lamp, those were air quotes, to get you maybe some nighttime activation work so you can see your logbook. So the way that this thing is constructed, there are a couple of standoffs inside, and you screw it into the front and you screw it into the back, and the screw on the back just isn't lining up 100%. So I loosened up the front side to give it some playroom. Okay, now let's do the rotary encoder the right way. There is a set screw on the side. Let's figure out what size that is. There we go. It is a 2mm. Okay, let's plug our dummy load back in. Now that we have the red filter, the red gel, let's see if that shows up better. Hear the tuner kick in. Okay, so the lamp comes on, and the power comes on and the tuner kicks in. But it ain't working now, and it was working before. So let's take it apart again and see what we messed up. When we ran it last time, we did not have the tuner board on. Let's see if that is the cause. Looks like the menu button is stuck. Yep, menu button's stuck. Let's unstuck the menu, which might be why it didn't line up. There we go. That looks a lot better on camera. So that's what it was. It was the menu button was stuck in the on position when we turned it on. Let's turn it back off. Ta-da! Get a little bit of dust off of that gel. Perfect. All fixed. There we go. One more successful radio project completed. Okay, you guys saw it. You didn't tell me. I went through all that trouble. Watch out. To put the radio back together and test it out, and I didn't put the tuner board back in. Let's get the tuner board back in. Ta-da! There is a video right over here I think you will enjoy next. Thanks for being awesome. I'll see you over there.